What's going on, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of But That's Just Me. I'm your host, Trone,
It's your co-host Gary.
and we're here to talk about my favorite team, your favorite team, our favorite team, the Miami Heat. Now, we are coming off of, a break. We took All-Star break off, just like the players in the NBA, just like the Miami Heat. Just needed a break to refresh, come back and get ready for the second half of the season. Now, disclaimer, we are recording this episode on a Thursday, so by the time you guys hear this episode, we would have already played the game, and that's good because we can see if any of the things we talk about today, we're gonna see if we were right about anything with our new additions and just the new look Heat and the new look roster. So we're gonna get into that, but first we're just gonna give a little recap of All Star Weekend as a whole. We had two Miami Heat players representing us during All Star Weekend, and that was Tyler and Bam Adebayo. And we're gonna get into both of their performances, starting with just with Tyler and just with the whole spectacle of the All Star game. So for me personally, uh, I wasn't really feeling the All Star game this week, this year rather. The game I wasn't feeling like the dunk contest. The 3-point shootout, it is what it is as far as that's concerned, but it was okay. Tyler, he started off like how our season has been starting off. Like his first couple of shots, yeah, pretty representative of our season. Just starting off missing. But what was like a couple of things that you noticed with with Tyler and like with his start, his performance overall?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting much to be honest. I was a bit surprised with how rough he started the 3-point contest.
Hmm.
Like he was just missing, and then towards the end he got hot. But it's a representation of how the team, like you said, like how the team season has been going with the shooting.
Right.
Um, like I said again, I wasn't expecting much from him because like to get to the technicality of like the way he shoots,
Hmm.
it's not really like a set shot. So he takes a lot of time, getting the ball dipping and then coming up and how high he jumps as well. It takes a lot of time from him completing all the sets. But yeah, that
Right.
that was really it to be honest.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, shout out to Dame Lillard. He ended up winning the 3-point shootout.
Mhm.
So shouts out to him. Like I said, I didn't really watch a lot of All Star Weekend. Like for some reason this year, and I mean, I know I'm not the only person to feel like that, but for some reason this year, like I just wasn't into it. It just wasn't as exciting. But you know, in the dunk contest, um, honestly, the majority of the dunk contest was pretty garbage. Like the players that they had in there, they're not they're not like quality names, and I never wanna disrespect NBA players because they are in the NBA for a reason. Like whether they are on an NBA team or whether they play in the G League or whatever. But
Right.
I never want to disrespect any of those NBA players because they're there for a reason. But yeah, it was pretty trash. Minus Mac
Yeah.
McClung. He's like single handedly saved that dunk contest.
Yeah, I've been watching like McClung since his high school days when he was putting out highlights like every other day. So I kind of knew he was going in there and he was gonna show out.
Right.
Apart from him, the other names I knew like they have bounce, like they have their bunnies, so they could
Right.
jump out the building. But
Right.
the apart from I forgot his name, the guy from the Pelicans.
Oh,
Apart from,
Trey Smith. Is it Trey Smith or Trey Jones? I
I think
don't.
it's like Trey Jones. I think.
Yeah, I think it's Trey Jones. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
yeah. Apart from him, the other guys weren't as creative.
right,
Apart from him and McClung, they weren't as creative with the
right.
dunks. And that's literally was what was missing from the whole All Star weekend. To be
Yeah,
honest, even like going back to the skills challenge,
yeah,
there wasn't much in there. There wasn't much to be excited about. And
right.
then even the All Star game, it was just the both teams was just chucking threes the whole time, chucking threes, chucking
Yeah,
threes. It's so it gets to a point where like it gets unbearable to watch,
right,
and I hope the NBA does something about that.
right.
There needs to be some more competitiveness between like all the All Stars. I don't know, like
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that they need to have I think they need to have like incentive on like for the winning because yes, right now like they play for charities and everything, but I mean you can just tell like it doesn't seem like these players. I'm not gonna say they don't care about charity because I'm sure they do, but what I am gonna say is I don't think that's enough incentive to get them to play hard in an exhibition game. I mean, you already
Right.
have players, playing with, doing load management and everything, and they don't even want to play the games that count towards their seasons. So you're trying to get players to play in a game that honestly is meaningless. Like if we want to be completely honest, the game is meaningless. Like there's no yes, you have All Star MVP, but how does that compare to regular season MVP, scoring champ, rebounding champ, finals MVP, Eastern Conference MVP, Western Conference MVP? That doesn't compare. So for me, I think they just need to add a little bit more incentive for the games. Like I don't know if well they took out the East West function, so you can't even say like the winner of the All Star game gets like home court advantage in the playoffs. Because I think there is a sport that's like that. I think it's
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah. I think it's. I heard something about baseball having
Yeah,
that, but I think they removed it as well. But they used to have that. They used
right,
to have.
right. But something like that gives incentive. It's like okay,
Hmm.
we're here. Like I'm gonna play now, and if I win, then and if I win and make it to the finals, then now my team is good. We got home court advantage, But there's no incentive to go hard during the All Star game, which
Yeah.
is which is trash.
Yeah. My bad.
No, 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 you good. And I mean, and I'm but speaking of that, like, but speaking of the All Star game, like we mentioned earlier, we did have one of our own, Bam Adebayo. He played in the All Star game. So what were like some things that you seen from him during the All Star game?
I mean, there wasn't much to see because he wasn't getting the ball, so he wasn't doing much. It was just him getting cardio, to be honest.
Right.
But that just I guess that kind of speaks to how the All Star game was overall. It was just like the same guys going back and forth. Uh, like Tatum had 50 something points.
Yeah.
Mitchell had like 40.
Yeah.
And
Ridiculous.
then towards the like I said, it was just a whole plethora of threes being shot.
Right. And
Um,
honestly, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I watched the first half. When
mhm.
they got to halftime, I stopped watching the game, and that's the first time I've ever done that, like in my life. Like typically, and I know what the All Star game is about, but typically I'll sit and I'll watch. I watch the All Star game like the whole thing. Last weekend, I couldn't do it. Like I could not sit there and just watch Dame pass half court and just chuck up a three, or like Jalen Brown drive to the rim uncontested. It was
Mhm.
at some point you have to draw the line, and I think I drew the line at halftime because I didn't go back. Like I didn't go back to finish
Yeah.
watching it. But that takes nothing away from the accomplishment that Bam had making it to the All-Star game. So, we definitely want to commend Bam, making the All-Star game. And Tyler too for making, for being invited to the 3-point shootout. Like that's no small thing. He didn't win, but we it's fine. Hopefully they do make changes like that. That definitely needs to be done. And we're not having this same conversation next year about why the All Star game is so boring and trash. If we're being completely honest. But All Star Weekend came and went. We were on a break. We're back now, and not only are we back, obviously last episode, that last episode was around the time of the trade deadline, where we made no moves except for trading away Dwayne Dedman. And what that did for us was create a roster spot. Create another roster spot, and gave us some cash considerations. But over the All Star Weekend, and this was something that really wasn't talked about because when we were discussing the buyout market, a lot of the people that we talked about Russ, we talked about John Wall, we talked about Hassan Whiteside. I still stand by that. We talked we talked about just a few people that were potentially that in the news they were talking about getting bought out. One person we didn't talk about though was Kevin Love.
Right.
The Cleveland Cavaliers, they bought out Kevin Love. I want to say he was in the last year of his deal that he signed with them a few years ago, and they ended up buying him out. And from the beginning, when they were talking about buying him out and discussing buying him out, they were talking about the Heat, us being a destination. But then at some point, and I don't know why, the Sixers crept in there, and they were talking about, oh, he's going to meet with the Sixers, and it didn't make sense from the beginning because we had more to offer Kevin Love in terms of money and in terms of like playability. Like, so when you saw the rumors about Kevin Love, and then when you saw the actual signing, like what were some of the things that that went through your mind?
Yeah. As soon as I saw the rumors, I was already like picturing in my head how he would play out with the team,
Right.
how they would run their sets and stuff like that.
Right.
I think that he opens up the floor a lot
Mhm.
um, to give Bam the leeway to just operate inside the paint.
Mhm.
And then there's the the fact that he could also rebound on top of that, which is something that we need
Yep.
very bad.
Yep.
Um, there's that as well as him being a good outlet passer.
Right.
So off the him coming up the rebounds, everybody's just running. Like you just
Yep.
gotta run at that point.
Exactly.
That should be easy baskets. But I'm more excited about like his shooting overall because if he's hitting the energy that everybody is going to receive off of that, him making his threes, I think it's gonna help the team a lot.
Yep.
Definitely.
Agreed. And also too, like one of the things that really stuck out to me with his signing was, remember when we talked about Bam, like why he doesn't average more rebounds per game than what he does. And me and you, we came to the conclusion that the switches, like the fact that he switches 1 through 5, that allows for either the other team or that allows for our guards to be in the paint when the person is shooting the ball. But now we're in a better situation because now Bam can just, like, he can switch even more. Like he's more free to switch, to make his switches and everything. And by him doing that, we have Kevin Love, who for his career averaged 10 rebounds a game. So, and obviously, like he fell out the rotation with Cleveland, but it's not like he was it's not like he was garbage. Like during his stint in Cleveland, this last season, he averaged 13.6 points a game, 7.2 rebounds a game, 2 assists per game, shooting 43% from the field and 39% from 3-point land. And I think that's the important part, the 3-point shooting. 39%, which is a tick above his career average for 3-pointers. That's what we need. For some reason, Strus and Duncan and I mean Gabe, he's been doing pretty well. So I can't really put, a lot of fault on him. He's been doing pretty well in the time that he's been getting minutes. But our players who we specifically pay to shoot have been missing. And with Duncan, I can give Duncan a tiny, small bit of leeway. And that's only because he's just coming back from injury. So we have to see how he plays out within these last 23 games, I believe, that we have left. We have to see how he plays out.
Yeah. I think that also his ability to play in the post could help our slashers a lot, like Jimmy. It could also help with him playing. Like you could even have him post up and just ISO the
Yep.
post. Like that's something that we don't have apart from Bam or Jimmy.
Yep.
It could open up the court a lot, and he has great vision too
Yeah.
off of the
100%.
post. So yeah, I think his passing is just, even though his assists don't show it,
Mm-hmm.
but his vision, I think it helps a lot with the slashers and
Right.
stuff like that. Get
Yep.
to the basket.
Yep. And also too, like one of the things I noticed too, and this could mean everything or this could mean nothing at all. He went back to his old number 42, his Minnesota number, and we know what 42 fat Kevin Love was doing.
Yeah.
Like he's probably not ever gonna like get to the weight where he was in Minnesota just because of how the Heat run their organization. That's probably not gonna happen. But I mean, he got 42 back, and we know what 42 Kevin Love was doing. We know what Kevin Love, and honestly too, honestly I feel that right now we're getting a better version of Kevin Love because remember in Minnesota he was a paint, like in the paint presence, rebounding, scoring in the paint. When he got to Cleveland, that's when he had to adjust his game and play more to the style of LeBron, where he would have to get open for threes. I mean, he became an amazing 3-point shooter, like 37% for his career. That's nothing to scoff at. Like, and 39 percent this like last season. That's nothing to to just like turn your nose up at. So the fact that we can get that Minnesota Kevin Love back out of necessity, and the fact that he has become a 3-point shooter where we know Bam can get him open, and regardless to how I said Strus and Duncan are playing, you still gotta guard them and respect them. Like
Mm-hmm.
it only takes one game for Strus and for Duncan Robinson to get hot and keep that going into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's. I think having them shoot the ball is like one of the positives of the team. Even though when they're missing, is
Mm-hmm.
like it just puts the morale down.
Yeah.
But when they're hitting shots, that the energy is just, it just carries to everybody. 1 through 15 is carries over.
Yep. And so I definitely look forward to seeing what Kevin Love brings to the table, which I feel like is going to be a lot. But Kevin Love wasn't the only player that we signed, and this second one it was a surprise to me. Like I didn't see this one coming. But in the grand scheme of things, and it definitely looked crazy when it first happened, but in the grand scheme of things, I see why they did it, and that was the signing of Cody Zeller. Now Cody Zeller, he played the majority of his career in Charlotte, and Cody Zeller's a big body. Like he's a big man. He can rebound. Uh, I'm pretty sure he can take the open shot when necessary, but we don't need him doing that. We just need him at the paint getting rebounds. Like you mentioned a few minutes ago, rebounds, that's what we need, so him coming in, he's gonna back up Bam. I don't see, any other way that he will be playing besides backing up Bam. Because I think Orlando Robinson, he's still on his 2-way contract and he's played a lot of games this season. So eventually he's gonna end up going back to the G League, and we're gonna need someone solidified there that's gonna be able to back up Bam Adebayo when Bam, needs his rest and everything. But Cody Zeller, he's a career 8 points per game, 6 rebounds, shoots over 50% from the field goal, and he can make his free throws, which is important because
Hmm.
we like towards the last 2 games before All Star breaks, we struggled a bit with our free throws. Like even Jimmy was missing free throws, and we can't have that. So to get another player that's decent from the free throw line, that helps. But yeah, that Cody Zeller signing was very surprising to me.
Was Yeah, I think I agree. It's also the fact that we have Yurtseven
Hmm.
in like the back pocket, just
Right,
waiting for him to get healthy.
right.
So I don't know how the rotation is gonna be
Yeah,
between the front court.
right.
Uh, but obviously Cody being in the team
Yeah,
helps a lot, especially
yeah.
with his rebounding.
It definitely does. And like I said, it was just surprising to me, that he even got to the team because I saw the Kevin Love news, and then I'm looking it up, and I'm like, Cody Zeller, and fun fact, when Cody Zeller he was drafted number 4 overall, when he got drafted, and I was at that draft, and that was a wild draft. Like, yeah, Anthony Bennett going first, like you could hear it in the crowd. And they were like, the Cleveland Cavaliers like Anthony Bennett. We was like, who? Like, who is Anthony Bennett? And, mind you, that's the same draft that Giannis was in. And granted, none of the teams that drafted before Giannis, I don't think any of them saw Giannis becoming what he is today, which he's arguably one of the best players in the world today.
Hmm.
But nobody saw that coming. So, it's kind of shocking. But, I mean, Cody Zeller, he got picked number 4. Giannis didn't. I think Giannis was like 13 or 14th pick. So, hopefully, we could trust the Heat to do their due diligence on people. Um, for some strange reason, though, like just getting centers haven't, like it hasn't panned out for us as much as it should have. But getting somebody to back up Bam. We're not gonna look to him to score unless he has like the open shots. We won't be looking for him to, come up off the dribble and just pull from mid range. Like we're not looking for that. We're just looking for rebounding, getting us second chance opportunities, um, taking second chance opportunities away from the opponent, and just playing his game. Like that's all we're looking for him to do is just play his game.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you, So, like I mentioned earlier, we have about 23 games left. Um, so I was just thinking like how many of those games like do you think we win, and where do you think we finish as far as like standings are concerned?
well, based on the upcoming games, we out of the 5 upcoming games, we could definitely like get 3 of those 5.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like there might be a little struggle here. Like we're gonna lose some games that we shouldn't lose
Right.
because having K Love, get acclimated, and Cody, um hopefully the shooting improves.
Right.
If the shooting comes back to how it should be, I think we win a lot more games than expected for sure.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the same boat I'm on. I out of the 23, I can hope that we win between 10 and 15 of them. Um,
Yeah.
it it's not. it's not unlikely, like it's not undoable. It's um not doable, or however it is you would say that. But it's not like we can't do it. We really we just need to play the style of basketball that we were playing all last season, which is making our threes and playing defense. That's it. And now with Bam emerging as an offensive threat, all the pressure is not on Jimmy to be that only scorer. All the pressure is not on Tyler to be that scorer. Like, we legit have a threat in Bam Adebayo. So I look forward to us um getting a run. The very first episode of this podcast, I said that we would be in fourth place. Um, I still stand by that. Just depending on what happens. I may be wrong. But that's just me. That's what I think. So we'll see. How that turns out as far as getting these wins. So so I just had like a few, like just a couple of quick topics, that I wanted to speak on. Um, Kyle Lowry, we didn't trade him at the deadline. We didn't buy him out. He's still essentially with the team. There's been reports that he's willing to do whatever it is that the team asks him to do. Uh, my hope, and a lot of other Heat fans' hope that I've seen on just on the internet, is him coming off the bench, which I'm not totally against. Um, just based off the way that Gabe has been playing, we can keep Gabe in the starting lineup and have Kyle come off the bench to run the second unit, because he's still gonna end up playing like with the starters anyway. Um, so I and then also with him coming off the bench, he could turn into that player that he was when early in the season when Jimmy and Bam was out, where he was scoring 25, uh, points and everything. So I truly feel like he can still do something to help the team, just not in a starting capacity.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like his biggest problem now is really his scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's not aggressive enough because he's trying to be the facilitator,
Right.
find the guys for give him the easy baskets. But
Right.
I feel like if he takes more than around 8 to 10 shots a game,
Yeah.
I feel like he could be more effective. But until then, yeah, I agree. I think he should be coming off the bench and let Gabe operate.
Yep.
Gabe is a little more aggressive. He'd be making more threes than Kyle Lowry as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
low key.
And he's like you mentioned, he's aggressive. He's gonna take those shots. Like, that's
Hmm.
one thing we don't have to worry about with Gabe Vincent. Like, he's going to shoot the ball, which he so far from the sample size that we got is so far so good. And speaking of Gabe Vincent, uh, our first game back after All Star break, we played the Milwaukee Bucks. He had two of his best games against the Bucks. Giannis, he's hurt right now, so he'll be out for a couple of games, but that has nothing to do with us. We'll be healthy, and I definitely can see us um, getting a win in that. But I'm gonna circle back to that, because I wanted to touch on something else as far as the Bucks were concerned. But that's just throwing that out there. So another player who we spoke on a little bit earlier, um, Duncan Robinson. Um, do you think Duncan can earn his spot back, uh, whether that be starting lineup or just more of a rotational piece, especially because of how Strus has been playing this season?
That is tough because now that we have K Love,
Mm-hmm.
we have Caleb coming off the bench,
Right.
which I feel like unless they run both Caleb and Duncan
Mm-hmm.
off the bench together,
Right.
it might work. But I don't know. I feel like his minutes are going to decrease because of Caleb, going to the bench.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. I feel like he's gonna lose his
Right.
rotation spot. But
Right. And I mean, and hopefully not. Like I've mentioned a bunch of times here, like how much like I do like Duncan Robinson. I am a fan of his. So I hope that he can get his groove back. And I mean, and also too, there's a chance that Kevin Love starts. Um,
mhm,
which in my
he should.
opinion makes the most sense. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
he should start. Maybe not right away. They probably want to see exactly how him and Bam play together, but they're gonna work. Like there's no way that they can't work. Like there's no reason to think that it won't work out. So hopefully K Love does get the start. And you know, as far as Duncan is concerned, I mean, I agree with you. Like I do think he might lose minutes, especially if Caleb is coming off the bench, along with Oladipo coming back because he's
Yep.
healthy now, so he's gonna be coming back. Tyler, you know, being available. Um, Jamal Kane, if they give him more minutes. You also have Jovic too. If he starts getting more minutes, just we just need Duncan Robinson to be the Duncan Robinson that we know that we're used to, and you know, so we'll look out for that. Definitely look out for that,
Yeah.
and so we already talked about our just our second half predictions, but do you have like any like bold predictions? And you know what? Matter of fact, right now we're gonna do the but that's just me moment of the week, and we're gonna see what those bold predictions are. Give me a real good one.
Old.
A real
I
good
feel
bold prediction.
I've been thinking about this as soon as the talks about Kevin Love coming to the team and
Mm-hmm.
him officially signing. I
Right.
feel like he could definitely be like a 15-10 type of guy. Like
Ooh.
just if it comes, if he starts, I feel
Ooh.
like his that potential is there. Like he's not that old. He's like
No.
32, I think.
Yeah, yeah. He's like 32, 33. Not old at
He's
all.
still capable. He's still very capable of putting like, you know,
Yeah.
decent numbers.
And with the limited minutes that he got in Cleveland, he was averaging 13 points, 7 rebounds. Like
Hmm.
so your 15 and 10 is not far. And those numbers were with him playing next to Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Um, they got another tall person on that team who he was playing next to because Cleveland has a big team,
Yep.
and those were the numbers that he was putting up in limited minutes. It wasn't that long ago that Kevin Love dropped what like I think he scored like 26 in the first quarter or like 30 something in the first quarter. So it was some
Yeah.
crazy number that he scored in the first quarter. So you're right. He's not that old. 15 and 10. That's out there. That's bold.
Yeah,
That's
the
bold.
only thing I'm concerned is I've been reading about like, Cavs fans talk about K Love and how he plays.
Hmm.
Um, they did mention that he does get killed a lot of the pick and rolls against guards.
Right.
So that's one thing I would look out for.
Hmm.
But we have Bam. I don't like putting Bam in that predicament because he has to switch 1 through 5 every
Right.
time, as
Right.
well as putting up that offensive load.
Right.
Um, but
And
yeah, that's the only thing.
and I mean and to go with that, like let's say sorry, K Love does come off the bench. He's probably gonna come off the bench with Cody Zeller. So, him getting beat off the pick and roll and like having the guards, drive to the rim. At least we have another body there to deter them. Like I'm not saying that um I'm not saying that this dude is gonna be like, Rudy Gobert in the paint, swatting shots and everything, but the fact that he's there to deter them, along with everything else, and if we play that top four defense that we keep hearing about, we should be good. We'll be good to go. But yeah, 15-10. That's you went bold. Yeah, we definitely gonna have to come back to this episode at the end of the season. And I don't think it's crazy. Like I don't think that's outlandish. Um so my bold prediction for the rest of this season is out of the 23 games. I know early I said between 10 and 15 that we needed to win, but out of these 23 games that we have left, I think we win 17 of them. I think we win 17 of them. I think we go on a nice streak, like maybe two or three 4 game winning streaks. Um, I think we do that, and we certainly end up in the 4th seed. And I mean, I don't even know if the numbers will add up.
Yeah.
Just to get to the 4th seed, but that's just what I think is gonna happen. Like I'm not backing off my 4th seed pick, and to couple that, I think that with these last 23 games and just getting everybody in rhythm and becoming acclimated with one another, we're gonna be good in the playoffs. I just, without seeing a game, but with seeing the pieces that they put in, and like them pretty much solve, like without getting a huge star, pretty much solving some of the issues that we had. I see us being real. I think I see us being real good in the playoffs, and we're gonna win
Yeah.
17. What did I say? 17? Yeah, 17
Yeah. Right.
of those games. We're gonna win 17, of our 23 games, and we're gonna put ourselves in a great position going into the playoffs.
Yeah. No, I agree. The way the East is looking now is kind of weak.
Yep.
Apart from like the top 2 3 teams like Celtics, Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from them, I feel like we have a pretty good chance against any other team in the East
Yep.
that we face off against in the playoffs. So not too crazy to say.
Definitely agree with that. So there you have it. But that's just me. Moment of the week. Heat wins 17 out of their 23 games for me. K Love goes 15-10
15.
average from Gary. And I listen, both of those things gonna happen. If those things don't happen, you could come back to episode 17 and you could leave a comment saying, "Oh, it didn't happen. Y'all look foolish." That's fine. That is
For
fine.
sure.
Um. So yeah. Upcoming. Like I said, we're recording this on a Thursday. So by the time you guys hear this, we would have already played the game against the Miami Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks, and speaking of the Bucks, they made a real interesting move this past week, and they signed Myers Leonard. Now, if you've been following the team for a while, Myers Leonard, he was on the Heat. He played pretty much the center position. That's what he is. But he can also shoot. He's a nice, decent enough outside threat. But he was traded from the Heat and then pretty much, you know, removed from the league because he made some comments on his Twitch channel when he was playing Call of Duty. He made some offensive comments. So he was out of the league. I want to say that happened maybe 2 years ago, maybe if I'm not mistaken. Um, but he's getting a second chance. He, according to the reports, like he did the work. And that's what you want from people. Like everybody's not gonna get it right all the time. So you want to give people the opportunity to do the work and make changes within themselves and see if you can give them another opportunity. And that's what the Milwaukee Bucks did. They gave him another opportunity, and I think he helps his team because they already have a big team with big players that shoot. And I think what's this dude's name? Bobby Portis. I think Bobby Portis is still hurt, so that gives them somebody who can potentially plug up his position. So I just thought that was interesting. His first game back in the NBA after being out of it for the last couple of years is against the last team he officially played for. You know,
Right.
so we'll see. We'll see how he does in that role. Especially with Giannis being out for a few games. Like we don't know how many games Giannis is going to be out for, but it's probably going to be a few. So that also can have Milwaukee slip down in the standings, possibly. You know. So yeah, we have the Bucks. Then after that, we have the Hornets. Cody Zeller, his comeback game, the Cody Zeller Bowl. Um, we're gonna see. Does his brother still play for the Hornets? Isn't Tyler's? No, I'm tripping. I might be tripping. I don't know. Was he
I
the
don't
Zeller
know.
that was there all that time? That was him, right? Cody
Nah,
was.
I'm not. I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I'll look it up. I don't follow them, so I didn't do the research on that. But
Yeah.
but next we have the Hornets. Um, they've been struggling. Although they've been just flat out bad this whole season. Which is shocking because last year they were decent enough. I think that the whole Miles Bridges situation didn't help them. Um, with him getting not suspended, but just not getting signed. But he is supposed to be coming back, so we'll see. But we have the Hornets. I think that'll be a win. And then we play the Sixers 2 times, which those games are always fun against the Sixers. Like Joel Embiid, great player. So it's always fun to see him and Bam go at it. You know, so those are our next upcoming 4 games, and probably gonna be the games we talk about next episode. So hopefully, when we come back next week, we're coming back with we went 4-0, and then my prediction, we went 4-0. Kevin Love averaging 15 and 10.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Then we both looking right, but yeah, those are our last our next 4 games. So we're gonna see, what we do the second half of the season after making some improvements to the team. Um, so yeah, you got any last parting words, any last attacks?
Yeah, one more thing I would say, Heat fans, y'all better watch out. Cody Zeller is low-key sneaky athletic, so be on the lookout for that. We might see some highlights from him, but
Hey, I mean,
yeah.
listen, I'm watching. Hey, I said sign Whiteside, so it don't get no crazier than that, But
Yeah.
But yeah, we gonna see. We gonna see. I'm definitely be locked in, tuned into these last few games. But I think we got it. And as far as me, I don't really have anything else. I'm just ready to get the second half of the season started. Um, so once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Um, how you guys have been doing, listening and watching us on YouTube. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, all that good stuff that the YouTubers
Sir.
say. But yeah, we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.